Welcome once again to Living in the 21st Century. Joining me today is Vasyl Shavchenko, former Transportation Minister of Ukraine. Vasyl, it's really a pleasure to have you on again.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
Absolutely. Recently, a lot have been going on this week in Ukraine. First of all, NATO had warned the eastern states of Europe that Russia is targeting them. Far from that, a British embassy was bombed or was hit by a missile this week, resulting in several injuries. Will you consider this attack on NATO allies? And if so, the concept that an attack on one is attack on all, should NATO nations do more in terms of getting deeply involved, even more involved now in the Ukraine's war, and try to bring this war to an end? We know for a fact that North Korea had just sent lots of missiles to Russia to help defeat Ukraine. So what's your part on this?
I say that all moments you have commented are possible because Russia is suffering at the battlefield in Ukraine. And you know that at the brink of so-called election campaign in Russia Federation, they are trying to demonstrate some success. They wanted to demonstrate their success at the battlefield in Ukraine, but as a result they received hit back, and now many Russia storages have been hit by Ukrainian drones, and logistic company Gota, which were involved in military supplies, have suffered for current day, and they have understood that it's impossible to demonstrate the Russians that they are powerful army, and they are capable to go further to capture small residential area in Ukraine. Nevertheless, we have had more than from 200 to 300 Russia's military storms at the battlefield. They are trying to use tactics when they are trying to send soldiers to put flags and to take picture and to die, to demonstrate their success. And its tactics works for Russia's propaganda, and it works effectively to demonstrate that they are so-called moving inside of Ukraine, but it is not enough to be the facts at the background. A lot of fires inside Russia Federation, and because of it, as we have already discussed, they are as usual, they are trying to escalate different conflicts, and now is challenging moment to provoke Baltic countries, or maybe Poland, because we can see that Poland is between so-called Russia's territory and Belarus. And maybe this so-called Suwalski corridor can be target their provocation. We cannot say that it will be direct attack, but because we can see that the battlefield can be different. First of all, we can see that different type of battlefield which has which can separate sites, so 30 kilometers, because they are using drones, and lately we can see that they are using new type of drones. They, for example, are taking jet drones by capital of Ukraine, and they are using ordinary drones produced from Iranian drones, copied Iranian drones, and mixing this tactics, they can test test NATO bloc countries, because article number 5 is a moment for testing, and now they can see that United States are involved in struggling with Iran. The United States and NATO bloc country have run off missiles which would allow to intercept ballistic missiles. It means that they have weapon where they can use. It's drones, different type, it's ballistic missiles, and exactly they need something to demonstrate to Russians. And because of it, we have heard many opinions from inside Russia Federation that after the election campaign, they will be ready to launch their compulsory drafting campaign just for forming new military units.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. One of the things I want to really look at seriously is because for the longest time, for many years, Ukraine had been seeking to get long-range missiles from the United States, and they never was successful in doing so. Because of that, there's some exploitation going on in the air defense for Ukraine. Both Putin and North Korea government leadership recognize this, which means now North Korea is assisting in deploying several ballistic missiles that can try to penetrate the Ukraine. Now, you know the Ukraine is doing well in terms of having really good AI drones and their bombing economic infrastructures and so forth back in Russia, which is good in crippling the economic infrastructure. But we're looking at the support of North Korea giving so much assistance now with ballistic missiles and even manpower to try to destroy Ukraine. What do you think the Ukraine leadership at this point have any strategic methods or methodology in how they're going to combat two nations, two superpowers now actually, because North Korea could be considered somewhat a superpower? How would Ukraine line up against those two superpowers? I mean, there's NATO allied forces, but they're just going to a specific point and no further. How could we try to get the NATO nations say, listen, we got to go all in, we got to bring this war to a halt, that we can start rebuilding Ukraine? What do you think is going on there?
I think that their opinions haven't changed, and they are ready to be together with North Koreans, and I suspect that there is China, because without China's approving chances for sending to Ukraine extra dozen thousand soldiers from North Korea is impossible. And we can see that they are going to participate in shelling Ukraine by ballistic missiles which were produced in North Korea just for testing these missiles, because it appears that Ukraine has higher vulnerability against missiles, and type of missiles they have been using against Ukraine is different, because, for example, most of these missiles are transformed from anti-ballistic missiles. They lack anti-ballistic missiles for their defense to prevent Ukrainians' drones hits to their refinery and military plants and military infrastructure. And instead, we can see that they are rebuilding it for hitting Ukraine, because these missiles has no big volume of explosive, but it can penetrate. For example, from 25 missiles, Ukraine can intercept maybe one or two missiles, because these anti-ballistic missiles are being developed in Ukraine, and we hope we will have it nearest future, but nobody knows. Ukrainian officials have commented many times that soon we will be ready to have these ballistic missiles, or to produce United States missiles, which from the very beginning were approved, but them was suspended against, according to the United States President's opinion. And now Ukraine's industry is trying to develop it. How fast, how soon we will have it, nobody knows. And because of it, effective type of intercept, it's to destroy launchers, because the distance of these missiles within 500 kilometers, and we can think that if Ukraine forces would have approval from owner Starlink's company Elon Musk for using Starlink against Russia Federation, against launchers at the Russia Federation, Ukraine forces will be able to destroy it, because as usual these launchers take from 5 to 10 minutes to launch missiles, and then to replace it immediately. And these instruments can be effective if we are working using different technology, but all this moment haven't been approved, and because of it we cannot say what we will have tomorrow, when we can see that Russia is trying to hit a residential area with a big number of civilians.
Okay. One thing I recognize is that the NATO nations has a comprehensive analysis that the European states are under threat by Russia. And I know that the NATO nations together collectively, they have there's a lot of superpower around them, surrounding them. Could they furnish Ukraine with the adequate amount of missiles that, I know you're developing anti-ballistic missiles right now, but it's still not in position to get ready to be deployed. Could the NATO nations facilitate Ukraine with that long-range missiles to do what they need to do? It looks like they need permission from the United States to do that, and I don't understand why they would want permission from the United States to do that when we see that the relationship between the United States and Russia to some degree is pretty close, even though it appear not to be so close. Could they just go on and make the decision and say, well, listen, this is our nation, our region, our allies that are getting destroyed. Let's do what we can do best to avoid this, because it seems like there's some withdrawal from the NATO nations doing their best. I think they can do much better than what they're doing. Can they go all into this? What do you think?
As far as I know, European partners, NATO bloc, haven't confirmed that they are able to produce anti-ballistic missiles, and they are ready to provide Ukraine. The only way we can have these missiles is to have negotiations with Japan, because we know that Japan has opportunity to produce this kind of missiles. They are producing United States missiles for Patriot system PEC-3, and these missiles can be provided, but according to their domestic law, they cannot supply it to the country which are waging war, and it means that they can provide somebody from the NATO countries and them to transmit to other European countries or to transmit it to Ukraine just to demonstrate that here is capability to intercept it. It's the only way. And we can see that European countries are not ready to produce it immediately because they didn't have it before, and the military sphere wasn't developed. And now only after launching a war, after invasion to Ukraine, Europeans have understood that it is not only war against Ukraine, it's war against the European Union, against NATO bloc, and against countries which are on the right side of the world, which are democratical and which have domination in different sphere. And this attack can be approved by China, who's interested in reshaping world order, and which is ready to work against opponent, including United States, and to work against the European market, because they depends on international markets, and main markets in the world it's United States markets and European market. It's main goals for Chinese. Which way they will reach, nobody knows, but I'm sure they will use different instruments to have it. And it's challenging moment for developing, and nobody knows how it will work further, because Ukraine have invited partners to produce ballistic anti-ballistic missiles. It's the same kind of missiles. These missiles can be interceptors, and these missiles can be ballistic missiles. And there is a main challenging moment, as far as I know, according to the Ukrainian experts. Main problem is guiding system and jet engine, or different type of engine, because before Ukraine was using engine from jet and from jets, and now this discussion, it seems to me, cannot be public, because it can be secret, but the information we have had many times that to this project are involved different countries which are representing European Union and NATO bloc countries. And time will show, because partly just before interview I have had an information that Ukraine officials informed that they received promises from United States top official concerning the number of interceptor which would allow Ukraine to intercept nearest future. But we know that main producer is not able to produce many this kind of missiles, because now we can see that Russia is using missiles which are rebuilt from the previous generation anti-ballistic missiles, and it means that they can have a huge number of these missiles, and they will try to exhaust any air defense system, including air defense system as a result of their cooperation with Iran, because they have the same technologies, and now they will try to test these missiles in Ukraine, which are copied in North Korea, and then they will have mass producing, and mass producing will allow them to have advantages at the battlefields.
Okay. One thing I want to ask, over a month ago, President Zelensky had relieved the Minister of Defense from his responsibilities, or duties rather. Was it a fruitful decision? And if not, who is his replacement right now at this point?
Now the former Minister of Defense haven't been reappointed, and Ukraine's president decided to appoint the acting Minister of Defense, and nevertheless protests which were on the former ministers of defense side who were supporting him haven't been continued because former defense minister is not interested in escalating this conflict, and he confirms that he belongs to President team and that he is not ready to resist it. And now I have seen many times the information that he continues working in the president team. We don't know what kind of chair will we have or have now, because we can see that publicly he informs that he have tried to communicate with Elon Musk concerning using Starlink's system at the Russia's territory, and he confirms that he is trying to assist president and that he is trying to be in his team, and maybe he will agree for next proposal. We will hear about it because he is clever and he is a good guy, and he, according to the last poll, have support in the public sphere. He is third most popular person in Ukraine. He has become unexpectedly, but nobody knows what will happen because nobody knows when we have and if we have election campaign, but because we have challenging moment for current situation, and it seems to me it's more important things, and nevertheless president have to pay attention for this sphere, because Ukraine is struggling for the good future. Ukrainians are not struggling and dying for dictatorship or authoritarian type of country running.
So since the change of that minister, did you see a little bit more success in the war and how things are going right now, or you think when he was minister, Ukraine was more at a stagnated atmosphere and getting things done?
I say that we have had a lot of innovation at the battlefield, because you know that from the very beginning Ukraine didn't have chances to stop Russia Federation, but now thanks to technology which have been implemented in military sphere, Ukraine forces are capable to struggle against bigger Russia's army, bigger and army which consume more money than Ukrainian army, and they have done nothing because technology is working. And former Minister of Defense, Mr. Fedorov, is high-tech sphere representative, and he is effective, he is good manager, and he is good at it, and because of it he was Security Council member, and he from the very beginning worked for digital transformation of Ukraine, and we have received a lot of different digital technologies, and these technologies partly were implemented in military sphere, but you know that many different groups in military sphere who's struggling for supplying weapon for Ukraine's army, struggling each other, and are interested in selling its own weapon, and very often we could see conflict between new technologies which are necessary for current day and previous technologies, and nobody knows which way is right. fight, because the same moment we heard the former commander-in-chief of Ukraine, who's currently ambassador of Ukraine in Great Britain, who commented that NATO bloc have to cooperate with Ukraine closer just for having newly performed technologies for military sphere, just not to lag behind from Russia, because it's suffering. And he commented maybe that European Union will have new military unions in military sphere, but after that he was deeply criticized, because Ukraine's constitution demands to be NATO bloc country, and that Ukraine officials have to follow it. And as a result of his speech, he was criticized. And because of it, we can see that we have interior struggling for the ideas, for the future, for domination of technologies. And it's good that we have opportunities to criticize officials and to have chances to cooperate. But the only thing that the outcome of this discussion can be effective, because we cannot lose this discussion, which can have direct impact for our opportunities to defend country.
Beautiful. Well, we're coming to the last 2 minutes in the program, so I'm going to ask this last question. It will be short. So do you think Ukraine is in a better place now in this war than when it first started?
I cannot say that situation is worsening in Ukraine, because Ukraine forces are struggling effectively. The only things we can see is that Russia have started hitting civilians. For example, the missiles they are using are low precision. They